In today's video, I want to talk about the show Cobra Kai. Since its days on YouTube, I was immediately hooked because I am a very huge fan of the old Karate Kid movies. Karate Kid 1 and 2 are fantastic and nostalgic movies, and even though I wasn't born in the 80s, I was raised with these movies, and I kind of feel like I was born in the 80s. Even though I was a 90s kid, I still grew up watching the Karate Kid movies, so when they came out with a Cobra Kai show, it was very nostalgic, and I was immediately attached and addicted to that show. Getting to see Johnny Lawrence and where life took him after the events of Karate Kid 1 and losing the All Valley was something that was very exciting to see and something I was immediately hooked to. Now, once again, if you have not seen this show at all and you don't want any spoilers, get out of here, come back later. But I'm also not going to be doing an entire synopsis of this entire show. I'm just going to talk about this final season and then the entire series as a whole and what I think about it. Now, like I said, the show first aired in 2018, and I believe the first season or two aired on YouTube. Eventually, Netflix took up the reins and then completed the show. Now, this show might be the single most cheesy show I have ever seen. Cheese! That might be an exaggeration, but is very cheesy, and some of the acting is very cheesy. But it's probably the only show that exists in this world that I actually tolerate the cheesiness, because of how much I love these characters and where they came from and their entire story, starting from Karate Kid until now. And of course, the show is Cobra Kai and centers around Johnny Lawrence, which then brings in Daniel, and then brings in all of their students, and then all of these other characters that are going through all of the other movies, and it was a lot of fun. But Johnny Lawrence is the main character, I feel, in this entire show, since he was in Cobra Kai and Karate Kid 1, and he's the one that brought it back to the Valley in Season 1 of Cobra Kai. Through the entire show, they had their ups and downs. Johnny got rid of Cobra Kai, and he wanted it gone forever. Then Kreese came back, and then Terry Silver came back, and then finally, Johnny joined Miyagi-Do, and then they went to the Seikai Taikai. That is a very interesting word to say. But then we come to the third part of Season 6. Pit stop. When shows come out, and they have a final season, and they have a part 1, part 2, part 3. That is incredibly obnoxious. If you're going to have a final season, just release it all at once. But this is the way these companies do things to grab subscriptions and make sure that people are coming back on different months and get different views in different months throughout the year. So they have the first part in June of 2024 or whenever it was, and then the second part at the end of 2024, and then the last and final part finally at the beginning of 2025. One of the most annoying things I can ever imagine. The same thing happened with Attack on Titan anime where they had 4 parts to the final season. Stop it. But I digress. The third part of Season 6 came out on February 13th, and of course I binged it instantly, and it was absolutely amazing. Now, of course, this is my video and my review, and it is completely biased. So you and I think it's amazing, and it actually is very cheesy, and it's acquired taste for some, but it was absolutely amazing for me. Like I said, there's a lot of cheesy actors in this, and sometimes even Johnny himself does some cheesy acting, but there was one scene between him and Kreese that literally gave me goosebumps, and I shed a tear. One single solitary tear. Didn't go very far. I got about here, and I wiped it off, but it was a very emotional scene between him and Kreese, and him yelling and just being upset how he felt betrayed and thrown away like trash from Kreese, and it was a very good closing scene for those two characters, and I love that scene. Now, after that mending of a bridge between Johnny and Kreese, Kreese is now like protecting and looking out for Johnny. And after Cobra Kai 1, the Seikai Taikai, Terry Silver is trying to hire an assassin to go and threaten Johnny's wife and new kid. But as the assassin leaves, seconds later, Kreese breaks the guy's neck, and then he's standing outside the boat, and Kreese and Terry Silver have a battle once again on this boat. And Terry Silver is accusing Kreese of having Johnny as his weakness, and Kreese says, "No, he's my strength." I'm like, yes, finally, let's go, let's do this. So there's a fight, and they battle, they, karate and all that jazz. And there's gasoline on the floor of the boat. So then Kreese is getting choked on the ground, and he flicks his cigar into the gasoline, and the boat blows up. Boom! Kreese is dead, and so is Terry Silver. Now, I would be completely fine with that. A courageous out. He saved Johnny and his family. Give him a medal. But they never touch back on that. And the only time we hear anything as a hint to what happened with them, when the enemy dojo Iron Dragons, that sensei says, "Where is Sensei Silver?" That's it. There is no what happened to Kreese. Where's Kreese? Johnny's not looking for Kreese. That's it. He's gone. Now, I feel like there could have been a way they could have brought in some acknowledgement to that. Maybe police could have said there was a boat out in the marina. It blew up. You know, Silver and Kreese were on that boat. I don't know how they would know. Maybe someone would know. I'm not sure. But there needed to be a way where Johnny could come to terms with him passing away and respect him in a way. In that last episode, it flashes back to 2017, and Johnny's looking at the tombstone of his mother, and he's saying, "I guess I'm a loser. I'll always be a loser. I guess I'll come to terms with it." And at the end of that episode, he goes back to that tombstone, and he puts up a bouquet of flowers and a picture of his new family, which was really nice to see. A beginning to this journey and then the end. There should have been a tombstone for Kreese, and Johnny should have found out that he had died, saving him, and there should have been a tombstone maybe at the other side of the cemetery, and then Johnny should have went up to the tombstone and done the bell. And that should have been it. That should have been the last time we see Kreese and Johnny paying his respects, because that is his old sensei, and they did mend that bridge in a way. Maybe something small, maybe something big for others. For me, I felt like I needed that closure for that. But it comes down to this: they're in the world champion of Seikai Taikai. There's that word again. Everyone is on the Miyagi-Do side except Tori Nichols, and they're going up against the Iron Dragons. Robbie gets his leg, I believe, broken, and then Samantha LaRusso backs out, giving the title so she can hand it to Tori so she can go for the win. That leaves the boys slot open. So then I guessed it, I predicted it as I was watching it. There's no one to prove that I predicted it correctly except me. But I knew they were going to bring Miguel back from Miyagi-Do and put him in Cobra Kai, and they did the same thing to Johnny. That way, Miguel went and he won the boys competition, and Tori went and she won the girls competition, and it was freaking awesome. Johnny comes back for his final time being a Cobra Kai sensei, and of course, they made it a tie between the two teams, so the senseis had to battle off. Well, Johnny asked Daniel to be his sensei and sensei him to win this battle, and of course, he won, and it was just so freaking awesome and highly entertaining. And there was a lot of pep talks and the kind of repetitiveness of the show that is, and it ended very nicely and completely wrapped up with a nice little bow and a cherry on top and all that good stuff. So now Cobra Kai is the most popular dojo in the world, and it has won the Seikai Taikai and is now a permanent resident in the valley once again, but now it's Johnny Lawrence's version of Cobra Kai. So he's a sensei again in Cobra Kai. Daniel is also a sensei in Miyagi-Do, and they're kind of like, there's a partnership. I think I'm going to give season 6 a solid 7.5, 8 out of 10 on this season. It was really good, really so much fun. And again, it's bringing back old characters that you haven't seen before or you have seen again, and it's really good. Now, the entire show as a whole, such a good show. Like I said, very nostalgic for me, and nostalgic is basically all of my YouTube channel is. And from playing old games, from talking about old stuff, nostalgic plays a huge part on how I enjoy entertainment today. And Cobra Kai is 100% a nostalgia forced thing for me. I have watched Cobra Kai over and over and over and over again. Every time a new season comes out, I go through and binge it, and I just really enjoy the character of Johnny Lawrence and his development from season 1 all the way to the end, and all the characters that come along the way. Now, I am capable of realizing that the show is highly repetitive. The themes, the back and forth between Johnny and Daniel, they're friends and they're not, they're friends and they're not, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold. That does get a little taxing as a viewer, but it's still, I choose to ignore it just because I like these characters and it's just a lot of fun. Every season, it's the same thing. Who's the next enemy? Oh, John Kreese again. Oh, John Kreese again. John Kreese again. Terry Silver once, then twice, and then a third time. It's a very repetitive show, but if you enjoy these characters, you're willing to look past it and you're willing to just accept that it's fun. You don't really care. It's not something that I'm deep into the lore with, like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars, and they're going back and just kind of defeating the purpose and cutting out things that we already know. This is just casual, relaxing fun, and it's still a really good show. The show as a whole, for me, I don't think it belongs in a 9 or 10 slot. I'm gonna have to put it at 8. But 8 is still a really good slot for a review, and that's my personal review. With these shows, I love watching them. I love them coming out, but there's that part of me that just wants it to be over. So I know there's an ending. I want to see how things end. And as much as I enjoy watching it and it's sad to end, I like that closing factor of the end of a show. Because there's one thing I hate more than just watching a show and waiting for the next season of a show and the next season. I just like to watch it all in one go. I like to binge. Side note, I just watched the show Justified for the first time, and I watched the entire thing all in one go, and it was complete brain rot, and I fried my eyes and my brain cells, but I did it, and it was fun. It was enjoyable. So now that the show has ended, it's really sad, it's bittersweet, but it's finished. I can go, when I binge it next time, I can do the whole thing, and there's going to be an end, and that's satisfying. Now, even though this is the end of the Cobra Kai show, I don't think this is the last we're going to see of Johnny Lawrence or any of these characters. And it's already set. There's going to be another Karate Kid movie with Daniel LaRusso. I think it's called Karate Kid Legends. And it's him and Jackie Chan from the other Karate Kid movie banding together, being two senseis together. And that looks like it's going to be really good. It could be really entertaining. All in all, I really enjoy the Karate Kid universe. And I'm glad they expanded it to give a Cobra Kai show. They've opened the door to have multiple different shows, but I guess we'll have to see what happens in the future. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't seen Cobra Kai and you're looking for another show to watch, I highly suggest it. Go binge the entire show on Netflix. I don't think you'd regret it if you're a Karate Kid fan. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.